Every summer Top 100. Every summer Top 100. He's got a voice that's really the bomb. He'll make a choice that'll aggravate Tom. I hate to spoil it, but when all's said and done, Merchant of Venus gonna be number one. Every summer Top 100. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the Top 100. This is episode 2, going from, 90 to 81. And I've got to go search for some more games in storage. It's been interesting with having to put a significant portion of the collection in storage, because it's forced us to play stuff that we wouldn't normally be playing. You know, the regular assortment isn't available, so we have to play some deeper cuts. We've been playing some of the Cosmos 2-player line, which is on a shelf that was not put in storage, and it's been kind of neat to be able to explore some of the selections that were not necessarily brand new releases. It's been cool. But for now, into the storage we go.
Number 90. Ray's Arcana.
Close enough. Kicking off this chunk with number 90, Ray's Arcana. It's a Tom Lehman game about translating different types of magical ingredients into other types, but really it's a puzzle. You are given a stack of cards at the beginning of the game. You get to look through them, figure out what your strategy might be to try and, because that's all you're going to get. You aren't going to draw any more cards outside of that system, so you'll get a couple at a time. You can draw more, but you have to figure out which ones you're going to build right away, which ones you're going to use for resources, and then wait until maybe it cycles back around and then try and build them, while racing for communal goals that the other players may be going for as well. It's a cool little action selection, almost a worker placement, although you don't have workers. You're taking actions, tapping cards, and trying to translate one thing into another in order to achieve these goals before the other players. It is a cool puzzle, and at first glance might seem like a lot of other games, but this one is a real gem. Ray's Arcana, number 90.
Number 89. Volt, Robot Battle Arena.
Volt Robot Battle Arena is one of the first games from Emerson Matsuuchi that I played. In fact, I think this might have been the first, and it impressed me from the start. This is the original. There is a newer Heidelberg edition that's got some cool towers and some modified rules, but even the original version of Volt is really cool. It's a programming game where you're moving a little robot around the board trying to score points either by knocking out opponents or by tagging certain locations on the board. You do this by placing dice behind your screen in sort of a controller pattern, so up, down, left, right, or firing your weapons, and the value that you set it determines how quickly you move and also how far you move, and it's really a very different method of programming your stuff, but it works out really, really well. The revised edition is really solid, and they've sort of streamlined just a few rules, but this one I'm still hanging on to because, well, I like Volt. It's a lovely game from Emerson Matsuuchi, and it comes in at number 89, Volt Robot Battle Arena.
Number 88. Paperback.
Number 88 is Paperback, a deck building game about building words. You have all the cards that represent letters, and you'll have a certain number of them in your hand, and you are trying to use all the cards in your hand to spell a word on your turn. That will earn you points and money to be able to buy more cards, more letters, more difficult letters to use, letters with better abilities on the cards, because a lot of these, the basic letters don't really have much, but once you start buying some better letters, that's going to earn you extra income, or it's going to earn you bonuses, bonus draws, being able to use additional abilities. And you'll get better and better words, which will allow you to purchase better and better scoring cards, which ultimately ends the game. There's a co-op version of Paperback, which is pretty cool, and I love the challenge of trying to expand my vocabulary in Paperback. Number 88.
Number 87. Flip City.
Number 87 has been hiding in my quiver all of this time, and that is Flip City. Flip City is a deck building game that where the cards are two-sided. I'm going to try and grab these and not mess up my entire list of these. But so this office card has one ability on one side, and then if you can flip it over, it's a trade center on the other side. And so as you are building your deck, not only are you acquiring more cards to go into your deck, but you're also flipping them over and keeping them in that same arrangement when you do a shuffle at the end of your sequence. When you need to reshuffle your deck, you're keeping them in the same orientation. And some abilities are very much dependent on how you flip them over, when you flip them over. Sometimes you get an ability when you flip them. You can flip them whenever you want, and then it triggers, but then you have to reset them by paying money to flip them over again. It offers an interesting twist on the deck building mechanism, and one I really like. There's several sets of Flip City, and I've got them all here in the quiver. Number, what is that, 87? Right? Yeah, 87, Flip City.
Number 86. Time Stories.
Number 86 has dropped a little bit. I think it was what, like 17? Where'd you go? Yes, 17 a few years ago. There's lots of reasons why Time Stories has slipped a little bit. First off, it is a puzzle game, not quite escape room, but very similar. This is one of the early plot-based, scenario-based games. Time Stories was sort of conceived as a system, a console that you would then plug modules into and work your way through. It's a little like a first-person puzzle adventure. A point-and-click adventure. You are working together as a team. You are time travelers who have gone back to a particular time period, and you enter an area, and it's presented as a tableau, a panorama of cards that represent your view. So you might see someone standing in the corner, you might see a tree that looks a little mysterious, you might see a door that looks like you might need to open it, and all of these are on different cards, and you will then spread out, taking time to investigate those various things. Your map expands as you go through the adventure. You are exploring, you're discovering, you're putting cards together, you're solving puzzles. It's a really neat game. It's fallen a lot, in recent years because it just hasn't gotten to the table. I started playing with one group, and there was sort of a promise of an overarching storyline amongst all the modules, and so I never really got that group back together to do that, but have played through many of them and have purchased more modules, but reviews of the last couple of modules have not been great, and reviews of the overarching story altogether have not been great, so I'm just gonna sort of let that go. I think I'm going to stick with the modules I have and continue to enjoy, because it is a really great system and a cool exploration task. Time Stories, my number 86.
Number 85. De Marnger van Vija.
Number 85, Die Magier von Pangaea, a game that Tom loves to make fun of me for liking so much. And this is only available in German from Queen Games. It is a game about mages trying to acquire amulets. And the board is modular. It's like one of those slide puzzles with the numbers 1 through 15. And you're trying to slide them around. So on the map, you can sort of see it here. You've got all these tiles. And part of your action on your turn, as you become more powerful, you gain more actions. You can slide these tiles around, helping you move around the board more easily. You're trying to acquire amulets from different characters around the board. Different characters will sell you different amulets. There's 5 different types. And it's a race to see who can get either 5 amulets outright, or 4 amulets with a certain amount of currency, or 3 amulets with a lot more currency. So there's sort of different ways to win. You're never sure who's really close to winning. And as you go and gain more amulets, you become more powerful in your ability to do stuff to the board. Die Magier von Pangaea. Really solid game.
Number 84. Near and Far.
84, wow, this is a heavy box. 84, golly, is Near and Far from Ryan Lockett. Red Raven Games has made several that are sort of storytelling games. In fact, the one right next to it, Above and Below, also uses a storytelling aspect to tell its adventures. But Near and Far, I think, is a little bit more solid. It is sort of an area control game. You've got areas on the map that you're trying to lay claim to, but really it's about adventure and discovering new things and making choices, and it's a little bit of a choose your own adventure, pick your path sort of adventure. The reason why this is so heavy is that it has multiple modes of play. You can play versions where you follow a character's journey throughout several adventures. You can play just a quick little standalone game, but they all sort of have a different flavor. And there's just a ton. You open up this box and it's got a whole world inside, which I truly appreciate. Plus, Ryan Lockett's art is wonderful. Near and Far, number 84.
Number 83. Disney vandalizes.
Also new to the list at number 83 is Disney Villainous. This is a story of the villains of the Disney universe. There are several expansions to this as well, but I think there's like six in the base box. That's still a lot to explore. Each one of these villains has a goal that they are trying to achieve, and they all work just a little bit differently. Ursula is trying to get to the surface and marry the prince, and what Prince John has, they all have totally separate goals that they're trying to achieve. Captain Hook is trying to kill Peter Pan, and it's all about luring him into certain positions. There's different locations, and you can affect the other players by causing them to face the good guys, the pitfalls from their own deck. Disney's all about sort of keeping everybody in their own corral. So you've got, say, if I'm playing against the Ursula player, I can cause Little Mermaid characters to attack her, but those Little Mermaid characters will never attack me. And so it's sort of multiplayer solitaire, but you can do lots of stuff to each other, and that messes up the solitaire. And learning how each of these villains works is part of the joy of this puzzle. Disney Villainous from Ravensburger. It's my number 83.
Number 82. The Reckoners.
Hooray for Past Eric for putting that on the top of that box. The Reckoners is number 82. It's a cooperative game based on the Brandon Sanderson novels, which I have not read, and probably should, because it's gotten a lot of praise. But it is a cooperative dice rolling game where you're trying to take down superheroes, evil superheroes. So they're, I guess, supervillains. Folks with superpowers that are doing bad things. You have all these big chunky dice, and you're allocating them to move around the board and fight them and figure out the weaknesses of the big bad. It's really a cool system. One I'm a little disappointed in, because I got this after playing it and really enjoying it. I got this for my son for Christmas, and he has not wanted to play it yet. But it is still a very cool game with a really neat theme, and one that I should explore more. The Reckoners, number 82.
Number 81. Dice Forge.
Number 81, Dice Forge. Not the first game that I played that did the custom dice, the ability to change the faces on your die and to make it more efficient and sort of a deck building game, but with the dice. But this one does it better than some of the others that I found. I love the theming, the art is really cool. The insert of this is pretty fantastic. Let me see if I can pull this out real quick. It actually uses a sleeve. There we go. And it's all held together with a rubber band so that things don't slide out. So when I pull this out, all of the custom pieces are all in position, ready to go. I like that very much. It's totally designed to be put vertically and still not lose its pieces, which I really like. So production-wise, Dice Forge is really solid. Plus, it's a pretty good game, too. Number 81, Dice Forge. All right, and there we go. For now, anyway, we'll have more of the top 100 on the horizon, both those deep cuts and some newer releases as well. But until then, take care. Vicious Fishes is not on my list. Look how much dust is on Vicious Fishes. That's pretty gross. That's just to let you know how long it's been since I've played that. Ugh, it's going back in storage.
Every summer, top 100. 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 Every summer, top 100.